Shalom. I would like to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Bahashem, Rakakodash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sincere Akim, pushing this word out across the four corners of the world. Just another news update through the spirit, the power, and the vibration of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh. Just a quick news article from naturalnews.com, and the title says, Bombshell, welcome to the swing state storms of 2024. Brought to you by HAARP, which is Esau's secret weapon for weather modification or weather manipulation. And the DOD, which is the Defense Department. So a swing state within American politics is any state that could possibly or reasonably be won by either the Democratic or Republican candidate in a statewide election. And a former U.S. president by the name of President Franklin D. Roosevelt stated, presidents are selected, not elected, which further shows you that these so-called U.S. presidents and world leaders are nothing but puppets that are doing the bidding of the so-called globalists, the so-called elites that Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua has set up within these end times. Because according to Job 9:24, it stated how the earth is given unto the hand of the wicked. And when you go into Malachi, the first chapter, it goes into how Esau, Edom, or the so-called Caucasian race in today's time, are the border of wickedness. So these are the particular people that Yahweh Yahushua has into rulership before Yahushua's second arrival. And this is the last rule of the heathen nations. So right here it says, not a day will go by before this election that the powers that be are not up to something nefarious behind closed doors. The left is about to lose this election in the biggest way unless they can cheat across the board, especially in the 7 swing states. The latest is weather modification machinery and geo-engineering, which are other names for a man-made pressure systems. Just a couple years ago, this will all be labeled conspiracy theory. Except now, the man, which is referring to Esau Edom, U.S. government has admitted to having all this power because of global warming battle initiatives. The U.S. government confirmed they flew weather weapon planes in Hurricane Helene that magically gained strength over land like no hurricane before. U.S. lawmakers were literally briefed on Department of Defense linked weather modification technology after Helene struck Georgia and North Carolina, 2 of the 7 swing states the left must win to pull off the biggest election upset in history. And the powers that be already know that your votes do not count, but it's like a game of illusion upon the masses, and more so upon you American people to actually believe that your votes count or your votes matter. But this is all ingredients for this order out of chaos that they have planned for you American people, because they know how hard in the paint you all will go through about the left states against the right states, about the red states against the blue states, all this type of division, but you're supposed to be within the so-called United States of America. So this is all boiling up to be a major civil war within America, which also pursues to end-time biblical prophecies. So this is something that Esau is cooking up for you stupefied Americans that actually believe that you're making a cause by going to these voting polls. And it says, it is becoming more and more evident that weather modification weapons are being used for election interference. Since we don't have a pandemic happening right now where tens of millions of falsified mail-in ballots are justifiably utilized, the Democrats need to create another reason to win the election after November the 5th, when all the Republicans come out in droves to vote to save America from a total and permanent communist takeover by the left. The Helene mod storm changed directions in North Carolina 7 times, demolishing counties that voted heavily for Trump in 2020, and land that is rich with lithium that the left desperately wants and needs for electric cars as part of the Green New scam. Remember, these storms don't get stronger over land, they get weaker. In other words, weather weapon technology is being used to kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. and do not be surprised to see similar machine-crafted disasters hit other swing states before and on November the 5th. Hurricane Milton is the first hurricane since the Civil War to mysteriously move directly east and demolish Florida, another state the Democrats desperately need to win. We knew that climate alarmists and the global warming cult was one huge scam, but nobody thought the weather could help the left cheat themselves in another election victory. But here we all are, witnessing the systemic carnage and methodical destruction of the most important election states in the Union. The Milton DOD-HAARP storm is ripping through Florida, where over 20 million people could have their homes and businesses wrecked to the extent that mail-in ballots will be their only choice for the election. Coincidence? Which swing states will suffer a DOD-HAARP manipulated storm in the next 3 weeks? Will it be Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, Wisconsin, or Pennsylvania? Will some massive Category 5 hurricane suddenly originate over a landlocked state and gain strength out of nowhere? Will it rain in the desert for a week straight and flood Arizona so nobody can get to the polls? Both Helene and Milton had to be modified by machinery to have their mysterious effects of local origination, immediate strength, and awkward directional movement. No wonder the U.S. government does not help storm victims. If they are using weather machines to help create and manipulate the storms, it's starting to make sense now. Why FEMA is not helping North Carolinians survive or recover? Why would FEMA fund recovery for people and businesses that the insidious government destroyed on purpose? Former President Lyndon B. Johnson predicted all of this in 1962 when he was VP, saying, "He who controls the weather will control the world." It calls for us taking the steps now that will make us no longer second in space and science. It lays the predicate and the foundation for a space communication satellite that will permit the people of the world to see one television program at the same time throughout the world. Think about that kind of communication and think about the opportunity that will provide. It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately control the weather. And he who controls the weather will control the world. Add Hurricane Otis and Hurricane John to the list of DOD-HAARP crafted and manipulated climate change storms. So Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua is allowing his vessel of dishonor, referencing to Esau, Edom, and more so the so-called powers that be, to tap more into their blessing, which is the sword. When you read Genesis, the 27th chapter, how our forefather Isaac blessed Esau with different blessings, but that main blessing is the sword. By the sword shall thou live, which links with Revelation, the 6th chapter, the 4th verse, how there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and how they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. And this HAARP, or they would call it HARP, weather modification technology, is definitely one of the many different mechanisms that Esau is ruling by his left hand blessing, the sword. And look what type of damage it can do to people and their lands, businesses, like totally catastrophic and disastrous. So this is the man of sin tapping into his blessing. And that's why I strongly believe that this guy that runs his site by the name of Mike Adams, who also deems himself as the health ranger, he's nothing but control opposition, because he has many other independent media outlets, such as Natural News, News Target, Preparedness.news, Superfoods.news. He's also the founder of Brighteon. So he has all this type of information and so-called knowledge, but he still believes that Trump is for America and how voting for him will bring back America great again. And he's pushing that dogma upon his listeners and supporters. Because for you to know all about this weather modification, going into the elites' diabolical plans that they have for the world, hence this NWO or Great Reset, but you still cannot pinpoint that these same so-called powers that be can appoint different presidents that they want in office. So while he brings a lot of truths and great talking points to the table, but at the same time, he brings forth inconsistencies and contradictions to the table as well. And we cannot be ignorant of Satan's devices. Because if he was really against this NWO agenda, they would have him out the scene. And he would not have many platforms such as he has in today's time. However, the Lord is still utilizing him to bring out the secret and just ungodly plans that the so-called powers that be have for the world, which is also biblical prophecy. And that takes me right to the book of Psalm 64:8. And it says, so they should make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. And that goes into these different truthers, these whistleblowers, who actually knows the secrets of this so-called shadow government or the secret society. And now they're coming out to the forefront and they are shedding that so-called light to the public. Because we are at the end of Esau's movie. And like I always bring out through the spirit from time to time, just dealing with Esau's movies, what happens at the end for the most part? The truth comes out. So therefore, how much more the movie of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai and this thing that we call life? Everything's coming out to the open now. This is all by the deeds of our power, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. So he's pouring that spirit upon these different secret insiders that know the plans of these so-called powers that be. And now they're shedding that light and bringing it out to the forefront. So they should make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them should flee away. All right, so to highlight this part right here on the article, not a day will go by before this election that the powers that be are not up to something nefarious behind closed doors, which is the nature of Esau Edom. He has to do something wicked as soon as he wakes up. And that's if this nigga even sleeps, because he's on full-time demon mode. And let's get right quick. The book of Psalm, the 28th chapter, in the 3rd verse, it says, draw me not away with the wicked and with the workers of iniquity. And the main workers of iniquity are the higher ups and more so the elites, these so-called globalists of Esau Edom. Again, the earth is given unto the hand of the wicked. And by that, he's dominating this earth by his left hand blessing, which is a sword. And as you can see with this HAARP, and as you should know, we have to speak in code due to Esau's harsh YouTube community guidelines. That's why it's stated within Isaiah, the 10th chapter, his laws are grievous. They are very unfair to so-called humanity. So draw me not away with the wicked and with the workers of iniquity, which speak peace to their neighbors, but mischief is in their hearts. So it's all about malicious behavior that pours out of Esau Edom, no matter what. And that takes me right to Revelation, the 13th chapter, and 11th verse. And as you can see from the heading, the beast from the earth. And the beast is referencing to NATO, which is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and also the EU, which is the European Union. They are fashioned after the pagan Roman Empire, that great red serpent. In America, it's like that whore that's striding upon that beast. She's able to steer it in the patterns or directions that she wanted to be in. So the beast from the earth, and this is Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And that 2 horns like a lamb is referencing to the so-called Republicans and the so-called Democrats. And when they speak to the people or the masses, they speak in those calm, smooth words, which backs up the scriptures within the book of Psalm, the 55th chapter, how the words of Esau Edom is smoother than butter. But war was in their heart, which is another form or fashion of Esau's blessing. The sword is his tongue. He would say he would do one thing and pretend like he would be at peace with you, but meanwhile he has warfare within his heart. He has ulterior motives. And you best believe it's not within the best interest of you, especially you Israelites. So going back to this article, So whether they are Democrats or Republicans, they are still the same heads on the same body. And they are both working for the higher ups, or the so-called powers that be, that this article is going into. Because they are nothing but control oppositions at the end of the day. Which takes me right back to the point where I believe that this guy, Mike Adams, who runs this Natural News website and many other independent media outlets, is nothing but control opposition himself. Because again, if he has all this type of information of what's going on throughout the earth, but he cannot pinpoint and say, all right, Trump has to be set up as well. So he's a part of that same program doing a divide and conquer upon the American people. So again, Revelation 13:11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So again, going right back into the article, not a day will go by before this election that the powers that be arten up to something nefarious behind closed doors. So it's spiritually programmed into Esau's mind or his heart that he has to bring forth diabolical devices upon the earth, because he is Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua's created player to do the left hand bidding of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua upon the earth. And that takes me right to the book of Psalm 36:1. And this is in the NLT version. A psalm of David, the servant of the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua. Sin whispers to the wicked deep within their hearts. They have no fear of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua at all. And the reason being because Esau believes that he is the God of the earth. He's been in rulership for this amount of time, and no divine intervention has stepped in and to take him out of his place yet. So with that build up all over the years, it's building up more pride and more of that self-ego, like look what have I did. He's very full of conceit, just like that arrogant statement that Edomite owner of the Titanic stated, how God himself could not sink that ship, the Titanic. And we already know the outcome of that situation. So America is likened unto that Titanic. Like these patriotic Edomites, and along with Jake as well, they really believe that nothing can take America down. And that's why it's stated within Isaiah the 14th chapter, thy pomp should be brought down to the grave. So all that pride, arrogance, conceit is going to be thrown out the window very soon. So the Lord is allowing Esau to reach his triumph, his peak power, just so for Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua can bring him down. So therefore, the names of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua can be magnified throughout the whole earth. Just like the Heavenly Father did with Pharaoh back in ancient Egypt. It's no different with the new spiritual Pharaoh within the new spiritual Egypt, which is Esau Edom, along with his stronghold, America. Verse 2, in their blind conceit, they cannot see how wicked they really are. Everything they say is crooked and deceitful. Hence, these so-called politicians. It's the same type of game that they play upon the masses, give them this sense of illusion that what they can do is going to be much better than the previous so-called politician or president. So that's that bait they set upon you masses, thinking that you have some type of given chance. That wishful thinking, but it's all a letdown at the end of the day. And that's why I always say through the spirit, like, if somebody talking to you about voting nowadays, especially someone of our people, just walk away. Do not even engage in that type of conversation, because it's not going to get anywhere. Like, if you have our people still voting nowadays and they cannot see what's going on throughout this world, like, let them have it. And that's why I stayed within the book of Isaiah, the 60th chapter, about gross darkness to people. So everything they say is crooked and deceitful. They refuse to act wisely or do good. One example, Esau's HAARP, his secret weapon to weather manipulation or weather modification. It can devastate and cause catastrophic events upon many cities. And that's war against humanity. So who are really the true terrorists upon this earth? It has to be the tabernacle or the household of Esau Edom. Verse 4, they lie awake at night, hatching sinful plots, and their ultimate plot is fulfilling this great reset. That's why Klaus Schwab who is the founder of the World Economic Forum. And I definitely believe that he could be like a hidden Rothschild or Rockefeller, one of those elite banking family members. And he's well known for saying this pandemic, which is referencing to the C-19, represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reimagine, to reflect, and to reset our world. And what is that reset referencing to? This NWO, this great reset that they keep boasting about, which is biblically codified as the wicked devices of the crafty. So by their plans to microchip everybody, as is stated within Revelation, the 13th chapter, and he calls it all, except for the elect of the nation of Israel. And also, you're going to have some of these other nations to be rebellious against this NWO agenda. But this is a part of them hatching sinful plots. Esau has to do some type of wickedness when he awakes. So again, they lie awake at night, hatching sinful plots. Their actions are never good. They made no attempt to turn from evil, which shows you the power and the might of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua, because Esau is spiritually customized to be the wicked, to be the antagonist, to be the bad guy within the movie. So even though Esau is boasting his mortal power, he still cannot resist the will of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua to do right or good. And even if he do something that's so-called good, you best believe it's an ulterior motive behind it. And that links with Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. So that pretty much concludes the lesson through the Spirit. Bombshell. Welcome to the Swing State Storms of 2024, brought to you by HAARP and the DOD. And Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua is enabling these higher ups, or the so-called powers that be of Esau Edom, to tap more into their left-hand spiritual blessing, again, which is the sword. And it's all done by design so Esau can reach his triumph, which is trying to be successful with his NWO. So therefore, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua can bring him down. And you best believe those names, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua, will be worldly magnified. So Esau is tapping more into his blessing because through the Spirit, he knows that he has but a short time. So Aparatazat with that, hopefully you all was edified, you all stay strong, keep pushing forward. Shalom.